So guys, I figure what we're going to do today is just take some of the comments that we got from our one of our latest TikTok videos. It's up to 68.7 thousand views, and we've got about 108 comments. Some of them are quite spicy, and I just wanted to get you guys' take on them. So first up, let's not talk about the moratorium on foreclosures that has tons of houses in line. Got a few of those comments that you guys forgot about this, apparently.
Yeah, the foreclosure moratorium was a thing nationwide, but it really wasn't that big of a deal in our area. Yes, it happened, but there's not really a backlog of foreclosures that are just waiting to pop on the market. This past month was a really big month in foreclosures compared to the last 2 years worth of this pandemic. We had 9 in Whitfield County, and I think it was 6 in Murray County. And so out of those 9, most of them aren't even going to make it to the steps because they're going to do a loan modification. Banks really do not want to take those properties back. They learned their lesson from 2008, and they have decided, hey, that's not the right strategy to take the property back. So they're doing everything they possibly can to try to keep the foreclosure from happening. So one example, this month, I've got a friend who's getting foreclosed on, and I talked to him about it, tried to buy the house, and he said that he was working with the bank, and they're going to basically modify the loan so he doesn't get foreclosed on. So he's pulling money out of his 401k, catching the payments up, and so it's just like no harm, no foul. Go back to the way it was, and they'll add some interest to the end of that loan and no foreclosure. So even though we had 9 this month, there's probably only going to be 3 or 4 that actually get called at the Whitfield County Courthouse on the first Tuesday of next month. So I don't see it. I don't think there's this backlog coming. And even if there is, I mean, in 2018, 2019, it was not uncommon to see 350 houses on the market, active listings. And as Boomer Bates with the Real Estate in the Morning told us this morning, there's 222 active listings. So if 100 were to come on the market tomorrow, kind of normal, right? So it's just not going to happen.
Well, also for perspective, if you say there's 9 this month, let's go back 2018. What was a normal month for? What would a normal month of foreclosures in the paper be?
Yeah, that would be a normal month.
Yeah.
Somewhere between 5 to 10 is a normal month. Now, back in 2008, there were 22 pages.
Wow.
I remember opening the foreclosure section and there being 22 pages of foreclosures. So that would be a lot. And there's no foreclosure moratorium in Georgia right now. So
5 to 10 a month is normal for us. I mean,
that's not going to change. That's not going to change anything. And honestly, the investors are probably going to buy those as soon as they hit the market anyway. So that doesn't change the active listing strategy at all.
So that brings me into another sort of section of comments that we got, which is banks are going to put a builder's loan on them, redo them, and rent them. Just watch.
Banks are not in the business of owning real estate and renting properties out. They want to get rid of them. They're not going to put money into them. They're like the ones we talked about. What was it? Open Door. They don't know what they're doing. They know how to do banking stuff. They don't know how to do real estate stuff.
So the banks are going to lose $1 billion in 3 months?
No.
I'll say this too. We are the Selling North Georgia podcast. Open Door, like we talked about last month, was buying homes in the Chattanooga market, right? They're not buying in North Georgia. As a matter of fact, we offered them the houses that I own in Dalton, and they didn't want them. They only wanted the ones that I had that were in the metro Chattanooga zip code. So big institutional buyers like hedge funds and Open Door and people like that, they just aren't buying in Dalton and Chatsworth and LJ, maybe a little in Ringgold, but that's not their primary concern or their primary target. I mean,
you said it a couple times. This is the Selling North Georgia podcast. And so we've gotten a lot of comments from people who I guess didn't understand that part in the name. And so there's a little bit of a difference between what's happening here in our market than what you might be able to see happening nationwide. So for someone who doesn't understand that, can we explain just a little bit about, what local real estate is versus national?
Well, the biggest difference is what drives the local economy. So manufacturing is what drives this town. We manufacture textiles. So as long as manufacturing is doing well, then our local market's going to be doing well. The thing that caused Dalton to do so well is when the pandemic happened and we realized all of this manufacturing that was happening overseas is something we actually needed to happen here, the industrial base here and the manufacturing base here saw it as an opportunity, and people started coming to our area to manufacture things like gloves and sanitizer and all the things that we needed for response to the pandemic. If you're going to have a shift of what they call onshoring or bringing jobs back to America, and if made in America is going to be the thing for the next couple of years or decade or whatever it might be, being in a manufacturing town is a good place to be.
A lot of people are saying that we're sounding exactly like all the people from 2008, that we just got our head in the sand. This guy says, LOL, same thing as in 2006. History repeats itself. Not saying it's going to happen, but you guys sound exactly like the guys in 2007. Why is this the same or different than what happened in 2007?
No doc loans.
What's a no-doc loan?
A no doc loan means you go to the bank and you tell them, I make $150,000 a year. And they say, okay, great, here's a loan. And they don't verify your income. Now, it is so hard to get a loan. If you've bought a house in the past 24 months, you know that it is painstaking, and underwriters need bodyguards because of all this crap that they ask for all the time. I was sitting at the closing table once, and the closing attorney literally asked for that day's paycheck from the buyer. He had to have that. He had to email it to him, and he had to email it to his lender before they would fund the loan. That's the difference between now and 2005, 6, and 7 was just the predatory lending.
The other thing that happened in 2008 is rent was actually pretty cheap compared to today's standards. So if you were in that situation where you were upside down, underwater, no equity, and your payment was $1,000 a month, and you had a 2-year 28 loan, which is 228, means it's fixed for 2 years and then adjusts for the next 28 years. Well, they got these teaser rates that were super low when you got the 2-year fixed part. So they would fix it at 1.9, but then it would switch to 6 or 7% later. And so when that payment adjusted, their payment went from $1,000 a month to, say, $1,400 a month. Well, now they can't afford that. Well, rent for that same house was $800 a month. So
just let my house go
why
and go
would they?
rent.
Yeah, they're not going to stay in a place where they have no equity. They actually owe more than it's worth, and to live in the same comparable house is $800 a month. Well, I'll just move and save $200 a month and walk away from this thing. Well, today, if you tried that exact same scenario, well, your rent in that $1,000 a month comparable house, your rent's going to be $1,400 a month. So you're going to lose $400 a month by moving. You're going to do whatever you can to stay.
That's the same reason I bought my house.
There you go.
Because rent was getting just as expensive as buying, so might as well just buy.
Yeah, let's hear that story, Carl. Tell us a little bit. How much were you paying in rent before you bought?
So I was paying $725, about to be $750 for a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment in Dalton.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot, but it was about the cheapest thing I could find that wasn't, a Roach Motel.
Yeah.
And so we were paying for that, and I was looking in the same apartment complex for just a 2-bedroom. They wanted $1,200, $500 more for one more bedroom, not even one more bath. I thought that was just ridiculous. I might as well just be buying a house right now.
When was this?
This was I closed in 2020. But yeah, I was looking around the market in Dalton, and any place worth living was $900 to $1,000, and I thought it just wasn't worth it. I mean, the benefit to me for renting was, one, you didn't have to take care of the maintenance and stuff. And 2, it was a lot cheaper and you could save money.
Yeah.
But that just wasn't the case.
How much is your house payment now?
So it's $1,241, but it comes with, over an acre of land, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. It came with 2 buildings with electricity in them. Like, it came with a lot of stuff. So it was more than what
So
I
a
would have been.
2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment was going to cost you $1,200, but a 3-bedroom, 2-bath on an acre costs you $1,241.
Yeah.
That's a pretty easy decision to make, right?
And you own it.
Yeah.
And you're building equity.
And nobody can go up on your rent. So
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so your payment is $1,241 for the next 30 years, all right?
Yeah.
Imagine what the rent price of that 3-bedroom, 2-bath house is going to be 30 years from today.
Yeah.
My goodness, it's absurd. So, yeah, you absolutely made a good decision. And even if you just look at 3-bedroom, 2-bath places for rent right now, I mean, you're probably $1,600-$1,700 a month. So you're already saving $400 a month,
Right.
just in today's terms. But then that just continues to extrapolate over 30 years.
Yeah.
Huge difference.
So, Michael, with a bunch of rentals, let me ask you this, because I saw this on Facebook yesterday, and I really wanted to tag you in it because you would have had a lot of fun. So it was someone in Chatsworth that I know posted a rental, and it was, I think, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath mobile home, $900 a month. And people are just ripping them a new one, talking about how they are just taking advantage of
Greedy
people,
landlords.
greedy landlords, things like that. But, I wanted to comment and say, the cost of living and everything has gone up. Like, why are you not grabbing? Because your groceries are more expensive, or your gas is more expensive, or your power is more expensive. So as a landlord, what do you say to those people that say, oh, you're just ripping me off and taking advantage of me?
So first, I'll take my landlord hat off, put my realtor hat on, and say, I think you should be a buyer. You should buy so that no one else controls what you pay every month. So the best way to get rid of the greedy landlord is to buy a house. All right, so realtor hat off, investor hat back on. As a landlord, I mean, the great news for that person, that renter, is that I don't get to set the market rate. If I try to charge you too much and rip you off, well, then don't rent it, right? So if you just boycott the place and you don't rent it, I have to lower my price until you will rent it, or I have to sell it. One of the two. I can't get the $900. I can't force you to pay me the $900 a month for that 3-bedroom, 2-bath, which sounds underpriced, frankly. There are no 3 bedrooms available for $900 anywhere. So
it could have been a 2-bedroom.
Kudos
I
to
think
that
it
guy.
was. I think it was a 3-bedroom.
But yeah, I mean, even 2-bedroom, 2-bath goes for $1,000 a month. My brother-in-law's got one that's going to come up here in a couple of weeks. 2-bedroom, 2-bath, $1,000 a month. Last time he did it, he had 10 applications. So not a problem. But anyway, I would just say that really the market gets to set the rate. This is not a socialist country where the government sets the rental rate, right? So if the market won't bear the $900, then they won't get the rent. It's that simple. And honestly, I bet if it is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath for $900, it's not available today. If you saw that yesterday, it's not available today. And this is probably the worst time of year to try to rent one. So if there ever was going to be a deal to be had, it's the week between Christmas and New Year's. That's the worst time to be trying to rent a place. So, man, I feel sorry. I really do feel sorry for the people who can't afford a good rental right now. There just aren't many, and all of them are super expensive. I agree with you. It is crazy what the market will bear. But that's just it. You can't be mad at the landlord. You got to be mad at the market.
Talk to your neighbors. Tell them to boycott.
Go buy a house for $900 a month.
That might be a little tough to do too.
Yeah. Right. I agree. If you can buy a house, that's the best way to get rid of the landlord.
Let's do a little quick live while the camera is rolling. We're gonna go to Rentometer or rentometer.com, whichever you prefer. And I'm going to type in an address in Murray County, and we will just use one that's kind of centrally located, 113 Green Road. I'm going to put rent at $1,500 for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and see what it tells me about $1,500 a month. Well, $1,500 is a little high, but the average is $1,174 for a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath. It doesn't delineate between 1.5 and 2. So the median is $1,275, and the 75th percentile is $1,450 a month. So there you go. This guy at $900 is well below market. He's in the 25th percentile. So yeah, he's got plenty of room to go up if he wanted to. And that's on Green Road. Who knows what his actual address is. But that just shows you there are resources out there that tell you if he's a greedy landlord, he's actually a very fair landlord.
Carl, you should Airbnb those buildings that's got the power in them.
No. I don't want strangers on my land.
That's 60 nights a month at $75.
Can you imagine those folks that Airbnb, started Airbnb where they were renting their couch? Renting a room inside their own house? Mind blowing to me.
No.
Now you get murdered.
Yeah, that's nuts.
I wouldn't be able to sleep. I couldn't. I got a 3-year-old girl over here.
Renting a bedroom in your house seems such a foreign idea to me.
Outside, nah. It's no different living in an apartment.
And that's why I moved out of an apartment. Did I tell you about the time the drunk lady crashed her car in my building?
Oh, this is good. Please continue this story.
Living in it's the same apartments from earlier. It's a 2-story apartment. it's 3-story. I'm on the 2nd floor. And our bedroom is on the outer wall, right? So you've got our bedroom, 1st floor, then the sidewalk in the parking lot. It's about midnight. I'm dead asleep. And I feel and hear a big crash. Wakes me up out of my sleep. I'm like, what the heck is going on? So I hear some commotion going out of our bedroom window, which I can see down to the sidewalk. So I go out and look, and directly below, I see a car pulling out, like headlight dangling and stuff. And they come off the sidewalk. They had crashed in to our building. So I pull out my phone and I start recording. Come see what they're going to do. And so,
like any good videographer would do, I pulled out my phone and started recording.
Well, I mean, yeah, because long story short, I know the lady who did it, and she was my upstairs neighbor, and this is the same lady that at like midnight, 12:30 or some day, comes down to my balcony because we've got that fire escape, and my desk is in the living room. And I'm playing video games or something. And she comes knocking on the sliding glass door. Not my front door where you're supposed to knock when you need your neighbor or something. But at, past midnight on my balcony glass door. I go out there. I've got my tool on me. I go up to the window and I'm like, what? She goes, do you have any soap?
No way.
Soap. I said, ma'am, you need to leave. She goes, what about some tape? I was like, get away from me. You got to go.
Wait, soap and tape.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, so she wanted some soap or some tape. Anyways, I told her to leave, and she wouldn't. I told her I was going to call the cops if she didn't. So she hits me with the, well, God bless you, sir. God bless. That sarcastic, like, okay, whatever. It's midnight. You're at my back door, but okay. I'm the bad guy. Anyways, so I pull out my phone. I'm recording. The upstairs neighbor gets out, gets in the passenger seat. The girl that was in the passenger seat got in and moved the car and fixed it. It's like, okay, that's a little weird. They go upstairs. So I'm waiting and I'm listening and I'm like, okay, they're not going to do anything. So I call the cops. I'm like, hey, this person crashed into our apartment building.
Where was the neighbor below you?
Hopefully
they weren't home. They weren't home.
That's all I'm saying. I'm like,
it was his window, and they crashed into his window, and the whole thing went inside. They didn't go completely inside, but they definitely shattered his bedroom window. So I called the cops. They get there. I waited a few minutes to see if they would come, but apparently they didn't call the cops. So I did. They came and got me, and I told them what happened. A couple of times, the cop came back to my door and asking me questions, asked me who was driving. I said it was the lady's name.
Yes.
And he goes, they're saying that that's not who was driving. Well, I said, well, I've got a video of her getting out of the driver's seat.
Oh, no.
Because she had been drinking. So I showed him the video, and then he's like, okay. So he goes back down there, and he's like, well, I've got, people saying that, witness saying that you were driving. I'm like, no, we, I didn't do that. I got out and, whatever she was saying. So he comes back and says, when did you start recording? Pretty much as it was happening. I got up. As I said, it took me as long as it took me to get from my bedroom to the window and then pull my phone out of my pocket. So like 20 seconds maybe. Actually didn't end up arresting her because I guess they believed her when they said that she wasn't driving and that she had just gotten the driver's side to, pull out or whatever lie she told them. But
wow.
Yeah. The guy's window was boarded up until I moved out. So it was about 2 months. It was November. Yeah, and we moved out in January. So
you couldn't get windows in 2020.
Yeah, so his window was boarded up.
Wow.
He wasn't home. I never did hear from the apartment complex. They didn't thank me for calling the cops or anything. I kind of wanted a letter or something.
A letter to hang on your wall.
Yeah, it's like, hey, appreciate you guys.
Humanitarian award goes to Carlson.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you keeping an eye out for somebody, you're looking out for somebody. Hey, thanks, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I don't want any money or nothing. Just say, talk to me.
I think no matter what we talk about from this point forward on the podcast, that's the best reason that you should buy a house. You don't have to worry about random cars running into your neighbor below you.
Yeah, but yeah, that is pretty good reason to buy a house. Now, I want to get into some of the more personal comments that we got on this video.
Oh, Michael loves these.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Exciting.
So, this is the section that I titled Used Car Salesman. We got comments such as, bro's just trying to keep that market pumped up.
Oh, nice.
Just a bunch of bros sitting around convincing themselves they're okay. This is a support group, LMAO. No need to rush, folks. Don't listen to people who depend on you buying to pay themselves. Hold tight. My favorite one is the don't listen to people who depend on you buying to pay themselves. And I thought, well, I mean, isn't that anybody in a capitalist society, like a plumber or a mechanic or really anybody you pay to do anything for you?
My barber tells me I need a haircut every time I go in there.
That's true.
So you may have to help me. What
Yeah.
does it mean when they call me a bro?
Well, you know what a crypto bro is, and you know what
It
a
feels
banker
derogatory.
bro- Yeah, it's definitely derogatory.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know I should be offended.
Yeah. So they're trying to say that you're in the boys' club, basically. You know, chumming around with your bros.
And this is a support group, is that?
Yeah.
And that's what he's calling us. I think we're a support group for each other.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah.
the way?
Yeah.
Okay.
So why are we or why are we not bros in a support group and they're scam artists?
Well, definitely not a scam artist. I will say that I'm not just telling other people to buy houses. I bought several in the last couple of years. I'm an active investor in the market, and I don't necessarily depend on other people to pay my bills, I guess is one of those accusations. I also rent houses and flip houses and advise other people on how to do that. It's not my idea that you should buy a house in July of 2020. Now, I bought my house that I live in now in July of 2020. We're not trying to be real estate bros trying to convince you should buy now. Buying's not for everybody. I tell people all the time that you should rent for a while first. If you're moving to Dalton and you've never lived here before, it's okay to rent for 6 months and try to figure out where you need to be. You know, renting is fine. If you're 80 years old on a fixed income and you can sign a 10-year lease that allows your payment to stay the same, well, that might be the right decision for you, right? So there are instances where renting is the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
I rented when I graduated from college. I could have bought a house, but I rented when I lived in Arkansas for 8 months because I wasn't sure how long I was going to be in Arkansas. So it made sense at that time.
It's also the people that say sit tight and let's just wait. It's like, okay, well, let's sit tight. And what if the rate stays 7 for the next 6-7 years? I mean, you're just going to sit tight for 6 or 7 years. I mean, a lot in life changes in 6 or 7 years. Like the example you gave last week.
Yeah. I mean, if you waited and you were in 1981 and you said, oh, these rates are just too high, and you waited till 1983, you paid double. So,
Well, I like how they say we're just trying to sell, but they don't have a alternative. Like, just don't listen to them. I'm not going to tell you what to do or give you something else to do. Just don't listen to them. They're just trying to be greedy.
that's a
and get
really
their-
good point. Yeah.
And it's like, if you're so smart, help these other people out.
Yeah. What should we do?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I bet it's about crypto.
That is a good question.
Dogecoin.
If we shouldn't listen to us, then what is the good advice that these people should take? And another point that I thought was interesting is that in that clip, y'all weren't trying to convince people to buy anything. You were talking about foreclosures and when they were going to come. And so I think it's worth it to kind of think about, just because someone's giving advice in a particular field, they may not be trying to convince you to take action, but if you have already decided that you're going to take action, they're giving you some direction on, what to avoid and what to expect.
Yeah. Another thing about the foreclosures, like there will be more foreclosures than there were last year. Yes. I mean, almost none happened last year. So, yes, there will be more. And foreclosures are a great place to get a good deal. But I've got a client that after that last podcast reached out to me. He's like, hey, I want to list those foreclosures. Tell me what you got going on. So I sent him the list. And so nothing happened for a week. And then we're recording this on December 29th. Well, the foreclosure auction is literally next Tuesday. So you've got 4 days, one of which is a bank holiday. So you can't do anything that day. Well, he wants to go buy one of these foreclosures. I'm like, well, which one? He goes, well, I don't know. Which one you think's the best deal? And I'm like, well, it depends. Like, what are you looking for? Like, let's have a conversation. So what he didn't understand is when you buy a foreclosure at the courthouse steps, you actually have to have the cash that day present, available, and able to be handed over to the attorney that's calling that foreclosure auction. So buying a foreclosure can make you some money, but it's also incredibly dangerous because you're paying cash that day. So it's dangerous because you don't know much about that house at all. Number one, have you even been in the house? 90% of the time, you can't even get in the house. If you are lucky enough to get in the house, well, you got to do a title search to make sure that there aren't any liens that are going to survive closing. Most foreclosures wipe out any junior liens, they call them. So as a foreclosure happens, a lot of secondary liens get wiped out, but not all. If the IRS has a lien on that person, that stays with the house. The IRS lien doesn't go away. If the state of Georgia has a lien on that person, they still get paid. So government gets paid.
Government
no matter
getting
what.
their money.
That's right. So if Whitfield County has placed a lien on it for condemnation or for whatever reason, they're going to get paid. If there are 3 years worth of back taxes, they're going to get paid. So all of those things don't get wiped out. The other problem that you run into is you may see what looks like a good deal in the foreclosures in the Friday paper in Whitfield County. Murray County, it's on Wednesday, but you may look at the paper and say, oh, this is getting foreclosed on for $25,000. Oh, awesome. Let's go buy this $100,000 house for $25,000. What you may not realize is that's the second mortgage, not the first mortgage. Well, the second mortgage can foreclose, but you have to pay off the first along with the second. Mm-hmm. So you may show up to the courthouse steps, pay out your $25,000, and not realize you still owe $130,000 on the first mortgage that's in place. So this is not something that you just want to figure out on Thursday that you're going to go do next Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Not a good plan, right? So there are quite a few steps in buying a foreclosure, and what wipes out most of the market is the fact that you got to show up with cash that day.
And a lot of people don't know that. It's not.
The people that are waiting to get the good deal on their personal residence don't have $100,000 in the bank account to buy a house with.
Yeah,
they got to go get certified cashier's checks from the bank tomorrow because the bank's closed on Monday to be ready for Tuesday. And investors have that kind of cash.
A total side note, I love showing up to the foreclosures on Tuesday because you walk in there and there are guys with like dirty, greasy hats on, and they're wearing shorts in December, and it's just so funny to look at them because you would not think that they were walking around with $100,000 of cashier's checks in their pocket, but there's a room full of them. There's usually 7 or 8 guys that are pretty much there every month. Yeah. So you look over and you're like, wow. That guy is literally wearing shorts from Abercrombie and Fitch from 1999. Yep. and he's got $100,000 in that cargo pant pocket.
I can tell you from working in the bank, I confirm that that experience.
Yeah, it's funny to watch because you just wouldn't think about it.
Yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up with my favorite comment.
Oh boy,
that I don't know if we should answer this one.
Oh, we should definitely answer this.
Should definitely answer. All right,
go for it.
Let's get
so
political.
Keep in mind this was commented in response to our fellas here on the Selling of Georgia team giving some expectations on the foreclosure market. This user says, welcome. You're cracking me up here. All right. This user says, welcome to the Democrats' Socialist New World Order government. How do you like it so far? It's all about greed, money, power, and total control over the sheep.
Over all the sheep.
Over all the sheep. So,
okay.
Because foreclosures are dried up, the socialists won. I just think no matter what you think about politics or whatever, I just don't think that it connects at all.
Maybe he,
whether you agree with them or not,
was commenting on a different video. I liked the New World Order, Hulk Hogan and all of them.
Hulkamania's running wild in his mind, and that's all he can think about. I think he was mad that Hulk Hogan isn't wrestling anymore. That's what we can get at here.
So, side note, who was your favorite '90s wrestler? Since we're talking about the NWO,
does The Rock count? Because I wasn't watching wrestling in the '90s. It was the early 2000s.
I didn't watch wrestling.
Stone Cold Steve Austin. He was in the '90s.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
While you're thinking, I'll go.
Yeah.
Original Sting, like not the one in
Bleached.
Later years where he had the cane or whatever it was he was carrying around. But the original Sting that had the makeup on the face,
the black and white makeup.
Yeah, and then he would put the scorpion on you. That guy. If Corey were here, he would say the Ultimate Warrior.
I was thinking the Ultimate Warrior.
I got in trouble in school for drawing what is it, D-Generation X?
Oh, yeah.
Their gesture with the X over the crotch.
Oh no!
I drew a character of doing that, and the speech bubble said on it.
Oh,
and I turned it. It was on my homework. I was bored. I wasn't thinking about what I was doing.
You're gonna have to bleep that out, Carl.
Yeah. And
it's a family show.
Yeah. So I turned it in. And I got ISS for that.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was a big deal, but
whoa!
I think the teacher thought that I was telling her. But I was just really into wrestling, and I liked their phrase.
So the lesson of today, boys and girls, moms and dads, be careful what you let your kids watch.
Yeah, don't doodle on your homework too if you're watching this.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say about the Democrat socialist response other than nobody in America is making you buy a house today. Nobody in America is forcing you to make any kind of real estate decision, and we certainly don't want to do that either here on the Selling North Georgia team. I would tell you that we want to help you make a good financial decision when it comes to real estate. And If you want to do it, awesome. If you don't, that's cool too. Nobody's forcing you to do anything. We are not trying to be greedy used car salesmen who work for the Illuminati or whoever it was he thought that we worked for. Was he calling us a capitalist or was he calling us a socialist? I couldn't tell.
I don't know. He says, "Welcome to the Democrats' Socialist New World Order
Maybe
government."
the market. He thinks the whole market is Democrat, socialist run. Could be that.
People aren't losing their houses, and he's mad about that.
Oh.
And blame it on the socialists.
If they were losing their houses, would that be blamed on the government? Because that's not even the government either. The government's not usually taking the house. It's usually the bank. Although we did have eminent domain happen in Whitfield County a couple months ago. The city of Dalton took a property because of stormwater management.
Yeah. They took a bunch of my family's land back in the 90s
How about that?
to build the Hagmill Lake Reservoir.
So see, he's right.
There we
Democrat,
go.
Socialist. No.
Yeah, government.
Now, wasn't eminent domain created before the Democratic Party, if I'm not mistaken?
Probably so. Yeah.
Because I'm thinking
Darn
about the old
Republicans.
the railroads.
Yeah,
Did a lot of that.
Was it the Whigs?
It might have been the Whigs. Because I remember in history class, was it the railroads? The Transcontinental Railroad took a bunch of land from the Mormons, I think is what it was. And the
Who took
Quakers,
it from the Indians?
Who took it from the Indians,
Who took it from other Indians?
who were Democrats. There we go. I think we did covered it up, pretty much everything. So thanks, guys, and
Sweating.
we'll catch you next month.